The galaxy was old. Older than memory, older than most of its stars. Across countless worlds, great empires rose and fell, leaving behind ruins, songs, and silence. Among these fragments of time, there was one story that no one could prove true. They called it the Tale of Earth. To the scholars of the Velari species, it was nothing more than an ancient myth, about a blue world where fire and metal gave birth to a race unlike any other. These humans, the story said, burned so bright that they vanished in their own brilliance. For generations, the tale had been told as a warning: do not chase the fire that consumed the children of Earth. In the Hall of Records on Velari Prime, an old historian named Soral Teth stood before a massive display of star maps. His golden eyes scanned the fading symbols of forgotten systems. The air shimmered faintly with hollow projections of stars long dead. "Still searching for your ghosts, Soral?" a young assistant asked kindly. "Ghosts?" Soral smiled. "No, dear Tanny. I search for echoes. Ghosts vanish, but echoes return." The assistant sighed. "You've been studying the Terran myth for 50 years. There's nothing left to find." Soral tapped the console, and a cluster of stars blinked into alignment. "Perhaps. But if they truly vanished, why do I find their pattern in so many cultures? Even the Marnak singers tell of the children who made fire. The same legend, the same ending." He leaned closer, whispering, "And the same promise. They would return." Tanny laughed gently. "You're letting stories cloud your science." But before Soral could answer, the lights in the hall flickered. Every console froze. Then, across the sky of Velari Prime, the planetary communication network crackled to life with a signal. Faint, rhythmic, and unlike anything they had heard before. "Is that music?" Tanny whispered. Soral's heart raced. "No, it's code." The signal repeated, steady, powerful, carrying a voice buried beneath static. The translation system struggled to decode it until the words finally emerged, clear and chilling. "We are the children of Earth, and we have returned." The next day, the galaxy trembled. Every major world, from the crystalline towers of the Zale Dominion to the storm oceans of the Orc Alliance, received the same transmission. The message came from the Outer Veil, a region long considered unreachable, filled with dark matter storms and gravitational scars. Nothing living had crossed that boundary in millennia, but now something was coming through. Admiral Ver Corin of the Auric Alliance watched the sensor feeds from his flagship. "How many ships?" he asked his aide. 37, sir. Their hulls. We've never seen anything like them." On the screen, sleek silver vessels moved in perfect formation. Their engines burned with a strange, silent blue light. They didn't match any known design, no transponder, no faction code, no alliance mark. Only one symbol glowed faintly on their hulls, a small blue circle with a white line through it, like an ancient world seen from orbit. "Send a hail," Ver ordered. The response came instantly. The same voice, calm and human, echoed through the command bridge. "This is Fleet Archangel, representing the children of Earth. We come seeking knowledge of our lost home. Identify yourselves." Silence filled the bridge. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Ver swallowed hard. "Children of Earth?" he whispered. "That's impossible. Earth never existed." On the far side of the galaxy, in a small colony called Rhinar Station, young miner Joro Nan stood outside his home, staring at the sky. He had heard the legends of the Lost Ones, the humans who built the first star drives. Old songs said they could walk through storms and shape light itself. Now those stories didn't feel like songs anymore. A faint blue streak crossed the night, bright as a blade cutting the darkness. The colony's radio crackled again, another broadcast, same voice, same calm tone. "To all sentient species of the galactic ring, Earth remembers." People gathered outside their homes. Fear and awe spread together. Some knelt in silence. Others cheered, thinking salvation had arrived. But many whispered something else, a single word that carried through the crowds: war. Deep aboard the flagship Archangel, Admiral Mara Iqbal watched the galaxy's maps unfold before her. She was tall, composed, with dark eyes that reflected the stars. Behind her stood Commander Holt, her loyal second. "Every major faction is listening," Holt said quietly, "and every one of them is afraid." "They should be," Mara replied softly. "Fear keeps them cautious." Holt hesitated. "Do you think they'll believe we're truly from Earth? After so long?" Mara smiled faintly. It doesn't matter if they believe. What matters is that they remember. Her gaze shifted to the window where the shattered glow of the outer veil faded behind them. Humanity's fleet had traveled farther than anyone thought possible, through void storms, wormholes, and time distortions. They had been gone from the known galaxy for almost 10,000 years. Their ancestors had left in desperation when Earth's star began to fade, scattering across unknown regions, building colonies in silence. For millennia, they rebuilt, adapted, and survived. And now, they had come home. In the Great Council of the Zeal Dominion, the alien rulers gathered in panic. Their long tendrils waved in agitation as reports poured in. The High Speaker's voice trembled. Humans are extinct. They cannot return. The records show they burned themselves with their wars. An ambassador from another world replied, and yet they send ships stronger than any we possess. Look at their energy readings. They travel faster than light without warp. What else could do this? Another voice hissed from the shadows. If they are real, they are dangerous. Myths or not, the old archives say they once fought gods. The chamber fell silent. The High Speaker spoke again, slower now. Then we must learn what they want before they decide what we are worth. Back on GalacticPrime, Sor-Alteth stood at the observation window, watching hundreds of small alien ships move to investigate the newcomers. The old historian's hands trembled with excitement. Tanny, he said softly, record this moment. History is waking. His assistant frowned. You really believe they're from Earth? Sorrel nodded. I believe the galaxy has just remembered something it tried to forget. He turned back to the display, where the human fleet appeared as a cluster of silver lights moving through the dark. Their formation was unlike anything he had seen, tight, deliberate, almost graceful. There was something human about it, even if he couldn't explain why. Meanwhile, inside the Archangel's command chamber, the crew prepared to make contact with the nearest neutral world. Admiral Mara stood before a holomap displaying countless empires and trade routes. She touched one blinking point, the Velari system. We start here, she said. They are scholars, not soldiers. They'll listen first. Commander Holt frowned. And if they don't? Mara looked at the shining emblem of Earth above the console, a blue planet surrounded by stars. Then we remind them who we are. Her words were calm, but the crew felt the weight behind them. For too long, humanity had been erased from galactic memory. Their language was forgotten. Their cities turned to dust, their name turned into legend. But legend, like fire, could rise again. Outside, the fleet moved in silence, engines glowing like quiet stars. No one fired. No one attacked. Yet across the galaxy, every ruler, every soldier, every scientist felt the same unease. Something powerful had returned from the dark. In the final hours of that first day, as the human fleet approached GalacticPrime, Sor-Alteth stood under the twilight sky, listening to the low hum of the incoming ships. The sound wasn't frightening. It was beautiful, like a song long forgotten. He whispered to himself, echoes. They've come back. When the first ship entered orbit, its lights reflected across the planet's oceans, painting the world in silver and blue. The message repeated one last time, filling every communicator, every radio, every heart. To those who remember the stories, we are not gods. We are not myths. We are the children of Earth, and we are home. Soral's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy knew that Earth's children were real. And somewhere, deep in the stars, an ancient power began to stir, watching the humans return and wondering if this time, the fire would burn brighter than ever before. The human fleet hung above GalacticPrime like a second constellation. 37 ships in perfect formation, glowing softly in orbit. They didn't broadcast threats or demands, only silence and the steady pulse of their beacon. Across the planet, billions of beings looked up with wonder and fear. The airwaves buzzed with translations of the ancient message. We are the children of Earth, and we have returned. The Velari government declared an emergency meeting that lasted for hours. Every leader, scientist, and military officer argued about what to do. The public begged for answers. Some wanted to welcome the strangers. Others demanded the fleet be driven away before it was too late, but the ships didn't move. They simply watched. High above, aboard the flagship Archangel, Admiral Mara Iqbal stood by the wide observation deck, her eyes fixed on the green and silver surface of Velari Prime. "Still no response?" she asked. Her communications officer, Lieutenant Danai, checked the console. "Only static, ma'am. Their council is in panic. They don't know if we're invaders or lost travelers." Commander Holt stepped closer. "We could force communication. A signal pulse to their command grid would—" Mara raised a hand. "No, let them come to us. We've waited 10,000 years. We can wait a few hours more." Her tone was calm but strong. The crew respected her patience. She was born on one of the outer colonies, where time and discipline were taught as survival tools. Her ancestors had carried the last fragments of Earth's data, songs, maps, and history, through dark centuries of exile. For her, this mission was not conquest. It was return. Down on Velari Prime, the Council's main chamber buzzed with voices. "They could destroy us if they wished," said one general. "Why do they wait?" Sorrel Teth, the old historian, stood quietly at the edge of the room. Though not part of the government, he had been invited for his knowledge of Terran myths. "They wait," he said, "because they are not here to conquer. They are here to see who remembers them." The room fell silent. The Prime Speaker turned to him. "You believe these beings are truly human?" Sorrel nodded. The voice. "The symbols on their ships. The pattern of their signal. It matches ancient Terran data found in the Orion archive. They are human, or what's left of them." The generals murmured uneasily. "And what if they are not like the stories? What if they have changed?" Sorrel smiled sadly. "Everyone changes, General. But I think they came back not to rule, but to remind." After hours of debate, the Council made a decision. A small diplomatic shuttle would be sent to make first contact. Sorrel volunteered to go. When the shuttle broke through the thin clouds and rose toward the waiting fleet, the crew held their breath. The human ships didn't move or react. Only their lights pulsed softly as if listening. Sorrel looked out the window at the enormous shapes above. "They built these," he whispered. "The myths were true," the pilot swallowed nervously. "They could erase us in a second." "Then let us hope," Sorrel replied, "that they still remember peace." The shuttle approached the Archangel and received permission to dock. As the airlock hissed open, Sorrel saw tall figures waiting on the other side. Their uniforms were dark gray with a blue emblem, a circle and a line, symbol of Earth. At their front stood Admiral Mara Iqbal. "Welcome aboard," she said in fluent Galactic standard. Her voice was calm, her presence firm. Sorrel bowed slightly. "On behalf of Velari Prime, I greet you. I'm Sorrel Teth, historian." Mara extended her hand. "Mara Iqbal, Admiral of the Fleet Archangel. You are the first of this galaxy to meet us in peace." Her handshake surprised him. It was a very old Terran custom, one he had only read about in myths. Her grip was steady, human warmth beneath metal discipline. "You are truly from Earth?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "We are its children. Though our homeworld is gone, we carry its memory in every cell." In the Archangel's main chamber, Sorrel sat with the human officers. Holographic maps showed routes through the galaxy, many of them uncharted. Mara explained, "Our ancestors left Earth when the sun began to fade. We built colonies beyond known space. We rebuilt civilization with fragments of old knowledge. For centuries we thought we were the last." Commander Holt added, "Then we found ruins, proof that others had survived the fall of the old Federation. But when we searched this region, there was no sign of Earth in any record. Someone erased it." Sorrel's eyes widened. "Erased by whom?" Mara looked at the glowing map. "That's what we came to find out." Back on the surface, the Velari government broadcasted the first official message. "The visitors from the outer veil are human. They claim to seek knowledge, not war." The message spread across the stars faster than light. Every empire, every colony, every trader heard it. And while some were filled with wonder, others were filled with fear. In the Aurealis Dominion, fear turned to anger. Emperor Rahavok, ruler of hundreds of systems, slammed his claws against the floor. "Humans lies! No one returns from myth. They are imposters or worse, spies." His council bowed nervously. "What are your orders, my emperor?" Ravok's eyes burned like molten iron. "Send a message to these children of Earth. They will kneel before the Dominion, or we will burn their silence from the stars." On the Archangel, the humans had already received the Dominion's signal. The voice of Emperor Ravok filled the command deck. You trespass in the Dominion sky. Submit your fleet to our inspection or face destruction. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Commander Holt's jaw tightened. Typical bully. Mara said nothing at first. She stared at the transmission, then finally spoke. Send a reply. Dunai nodded and transmitted her words. We are travelers, not subjects. We will not kneel, but we will listen if you speak with respect. Silence followed. Then the Dominion cut all channels. Holt turned to her. They won't like that. I know, Mara replied softly. But neither do we. Far away, the Dominion fleet began to mobilize, thousands of ships preparing for war. They thought the humans were few, their silence a sign of weakness. But to those who studied history, silence had a different meaning. Soral, still aboard the Archangel, understood it. They call you the Silent Armada, he said, watching the humans prepare quietly. Do you truly think you can face them? Mara smiled faintly. We don't need to face them. We just need them to remember who we are. She turned to the window. Humanity has fought extinction before. We did not survive the dark to fall before fear. In the following days, the galaxy held its breath. Trade routes closed. Fleets repositioned. Rumors spread that the humans were building weapons unseen for millennia. On neutral worlds, children began to whisper the name Earth again, as if saying it might summon hope. And deep in the Dominion's war chambers, Emperor Ravok prepared to strike. We will destroy their myth, he growled, and the galaxy will remember who rules the stars. Meanwhile, aboard the Archangel, Mara walked alone through the memorial deck, a long hall filled with lights. Each light represented a lost colony of old Earth. She stopped before one marked Sol, the first flame. Her voice was barely a whisper. We came for truth, but maybe the truth will come for us first. The deck's window revealed the Velari world below, peaceful for now. The stars beyond shimmered cold and distant, like eyes watching from the dark. The next morning, Lieutenant Dunai rushed into the command room. Admiral, multiple warp signatures, Dominion fleet approaching fast. Mara stood calmly. How many? Over 500 ships, ma'am. Holt cursed under his breath. They're coming to test the legend. Mara's expression didn't change. Then we'll show them what legends are made of. She turned to her crew. Prepare formation Theta 9. No aggression until I give the order. Soral watched from behind, heart pounding. You mean to fight them? Mara's eyes stayed on the stars. If they force us, yes. But we will fight as humans do, not for power, but for memory. Outside, the void began to shimmer with the arrival of the Dominion Armada, massive warships stretching across space like a wall of fire. The humans' smaller fleet moved together, silent and disciplined. Their blue lights pulsed once like a heartbeat. Across the galaxy, watchers held their breath. The myths of Earth were about to awaken, and as the first Dominion ships powered their weapons, Mara whispered to herself, Let them come. The stars have forgotten what we can do. The void between stars trembled. From the far edge of the Aurealis sector, 500 Dominion warships moved in formation, their engines burning red like angry suns. They carried the pride of 1,000 conquered worlds and the arrogance of a ruler who believed no myth could challenge him. Above the neutral world of Velari Prime, humanity's fleet waited. 37 ships, silent, motionless, unshaken. To the rest of the galaxy, the sight was madness. The Dominion was a sea of fire. The humans were a whisper of wind, but sometimes a whisper can cut through storms. Inside the flagship Archangel, Admiral Mara Iqbal watched the approaching armada with calm eyes. Status? She asked quietly. Dominion fleet entering weapons range, replied Lieutenant Dunai. They've locked on us, ma'am. Commander Holt stood at her side. They'll attack first, no doubt. Mara nodded. Then history will record who started this. Soral Teth, the Velari historian, stood near the observation window, nervous but curious. You truly intend to face them? Mara looked at him. You wanted to see how humans fight, didn't you? Watch closely, Professor. This is how we remember. The Dominion flagship, Wrath of Aurealis, commanded by Emperor Ravok himself, broadcasted across the system. Children of Earth, surrender your ships and submit to inspection. Refuse and your legend will burn. The human response came seconds later, steady and clear. We came in peace. You came in pride. The stars will see the difference. The Dominion fleet opened fire. Hundreds of plasma bolts lit the darkness, cutting through the void like lightning. The first wave hit the human formation. Yet instead of explosions, the energy vanished into invisible fields. Soral gasped. Their shields absorbed it. Holt smiled slightly. Not shields. Veil fields. Energy redirection. Old Earth design. The human ships shimmered, their hulls bending light as they moved. Then for the first time they struck back. Blue beams lanced across the stars, silent, precise, and beautiful. Instead of aiming for destruction, they targeted enemy sensors and engines. Dominion ships went dark one after another, drifting powerless in space. Within minutes, 30 enemy ships were disabled, not destroyed. The Dominion commanders shouted in confusion. "They're not killing us. They're disabling." But Emperor Ravok's pride was stronger than reason. "Fire all batteries," he roared. "Crush them." A storm of plasma and missiles filled the void. Mara's voice stayed calm. "Formation Theta 9. Defensive pattern." The Archangel and its sister ships moved as one, weaving through the storm with impossible precision. Each motion looked pre-planned, like a dance written by stars. "Trajectory shift complete," Holt reported. "Counterfire," Mara said softly. Small projectiles launched from the human ships, simple metal darts glowing faintly. They seemed harmless until they hit their targets. Each dart released a burst of electromagnetic energy, shutting down Dominion weapon systems. In less than an hour, half the enemy fleet was disabled. Across the galaxy, the battle was broadcast by hidden observers. Billions watched in silence. The humans had not only survived, they were winning. On neutral worlds, old scholars whispered to each other. The legends were true. Earth's children fight with mind, not madness. Back aboard the Dominion flagship, Emperor Ravok's fury grew. "They mock us. They refuse to fight properly." His advisor trembled. "Sire, they're sparing our ships. Perhaps they seek peace?" "Peace?" Ravok roared. "I'll give them silence." He slammed his clawed hand onto the control console. "Activate the Nova bomb." The crew froze. "Sire, that will destroy the entire sector, our ships, their ships, everything." "Then so be it," Ravok snarled. "Let the stars remember our power." In the Archangel's command deck, alarms flared. "Energy surge detected," Danai shouted. "Massive reaction forming inside the Dominion flagship." Mara's expression hardened. "Nova device?" Holt nodded grimly. "Confirmed. They're going to detonate it." Soral looked horrified. "That will destroy GalacticPrime too. Millions will die." Mara didn't hesitate. "All ships move to intercept." Project Shield arrays forward. "Holt, prepare the grav core." "The grav core?" Holt hesitated. "Ma'am, it's unstable." "It's our only chance. Do it." The fleet shifted formation instantly, creating a protective arc between the Dominion flagship and GalacticPrime. Energy fields expanded, blue and gold lights forming a vast barrier. Mara stood firm. We didn't come this far to watch another world burn. Holt's hands moved across the console. "Grav core charging. 30 seconds. Soral gripped the edge of the console. "What is the grav core?" Mara answered quietly. "A weapon of balance. It bends gravity itself to catch fire before it spreads." The stars outside began to distort, space itself trembling. The Dominion's Nova bomb grew brighter, preparing to detonate. 10 seconds. Holt shouted, "Hold the line." Mara commanded. The fleet's barrier flared as the bomb exploded. The light was blinding. The void turned white, then black again. When the glare faded, the Dominion flagship was gone, pulled into its own gravity well. GalacticPrime survived. Half the Dominion fleet drifted silently, their systems dead. The rest fled into the dark, leaving behind only broken pride and fear. Inside the Archangel, silence filled the bridge. The crew watched the fading energy field shimmer around them. "We held," Holt whispered. Danai smiled weakly. "All ships report minimal damage." Soral looked at Mara in awe. "You stopped a star from dying." Mara shook her head. "No. We stopped another story from ending the same way." Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. "The Dominion has been defeated at Aurealis. The humans spared the survivors. The myths walk among us again." But not everyone celebrated. In hidden corners of space, the ancient Galactic Council, a secret alliance of elder species who once ruled the stars, watched the battle through old archives. A pale being with 6 eyes whispered, "They've returned sooner than we thought." Another, cloaked in shadows, replied, "Then our secret will not stay buried." "Their memory was erased once," said a third voice. "We can erase it again." Back on Prime, celebrations filled the cities. Crowds cheered under the twin moons, chanting words they had only read in old stories. Earth, Earth, Earth. Sorrel returned to the surface with the first human envoy. He walked through streets filled with light, unable to stop smiling. An alien child tugged at his robe. "Teacher, is it true? The humans saved us?" "Yes," Sorrel said softly. "They saved us all." The child looked up at the stars. "Then maybe they'll save the galaxy too." Sorrel didn't answer. He wasn't sure if the galaxy wanted saving, or if it feared the memory of those who once ruled it. Aboard the Archangel, Admiral Mara watched the celebration from orbit. Holt approached quietly. "The Dominion has withdrawn. We've sent medical ships to help their survivors." Mara nodded. "Good, let them see mercy." "Mercy?" Holt asked. "After they tried to destroy us?" "Exactly," Mara said. "That's what makes us human." She turned back to the window, her reflection surrounded by stars. "But this battle isn't the end. It's the beginning. Someone erased our name from the stars, Commander. Someone wanted Earth forgotten." Holt frowned. "And you think the Dominion wasn't behind it?" "No," she said softly. "They're too proud, too simple. This goes deeper, far deeper." Later that night, in her private quarters, Mara opened a small metallic box. Inside lay an old, cracked photograph, 5 figures standing before a blue sky and green fields. At the bottom were faded words, "Earth, year 2341. She traced the image gently with her fingers. "We kept our promise," she whispered. "We came home." Then the ship's lights dimmed suddenly. "Admiral." Danai's voice came over the intercom. "Unidentified transmission detected, encoded in pre-Federation Terran language." Mara's eyes widened. "Put it through." The static cleared, revealing a distorted human voice. "Archangel, this is Elysium Prime. Do not trust the Council. Earth still burns, and they will come for you." The message cut off. Holt stared at her. That was a human signal. From outside known space, Mara's face hardened. "Then the truth isn't lost, it's hidden." She looked at the stars, her voice calm but firm. "Set course for Elysium Prime. The war is not over, it's only remembering." The stars stretched endlessly before the Archangel as it glided through the void. Admiral Mara Iqbal stood on the observation deck, silent and watchful, her gaze fixed on the faint glimmer of Elysium Prime. The planet hung in the darkness like a forgotten jewel, its surface dotted with ruins and glowing symbols from an age long gone. "This place," Commander Holt said, stepping beside her, "has been abandoned for centuries. Sensors detect no life, only ruins and—" "Something else," Mara nodded. "Not just ruins, memory. The ancients left their voice here." Sorrel Teth, the historian, stepped forward from the shadows. "The ancients? You mean humans?" His voice trembled. "But this is not Earth. How can this be theirs?" Mara's eyes did not leave the planet. "Because this was one of our colonies before the Council erased us. Here the truth of Earth's disappearance is preserved. If we can read it, the galaxy will finally know what was stolen from us." The landing was quiet. The shuttle touched the cracked surface of Elysium Prime, sending up soft clouds of dust. Nothing stirred, no alarms, only the wind across the broken spires of metal and stone, remnants of a civilization once proud and thriving. The humans and Velari scholars walked together through the ruins, the ground echoing beneath their boots. Holographic symbols flickered faintly on the walls, patterns of light that had survived millennia. Sorrel bent down, tracing the carvings with his hand. These are Terran runes," he whispered. "I've only seen them in archives." They survived." Mara stepped forward. "The Council tried to erase us, but memory lasts. Look there." She pointed to a massive hall in the center of the ruins. Its ceiling collapsed, revealing the stars above. This was a library, a repository of knowledge protected through time. Its creators built it to survive destruction. Inside, the team found rows of crystalline nodes, each humming faintly with stored data. Danai approached one and scanned it. "These aren't just databanks. They're alive, some kind of adaptive memory matrix." Mara frowned. "Alive?" Yes, Danai said. It reacts to us, to humans. The nodes recognize our presence, Soral gasped. So the ancients anticipated a return. They left messages. For their own descendants? Mara's lips pressed together. Yes, and perhaps warnings. They activated the first node. Light poured into the room, forming a holographic projection of an old human figure. Its voice was calm, resonant, and clear, though faintly distorted by centuries of decay. To those who return, remember, the Council erased Earth to prevent knowledge from spreading. Our civilization once guided the stars. Our war with the Council nearly ended all we knew. If you are here, it is because hope endured where memory failed. Soral's eyes filled with tears. It's a message from our ancestors. It's real. The projection continued. The Council feared what humanity could become. They feared unity, ingenuity, and the fire of our will. They erased records, silenced colonies, and scattered the children of Earth. But some survived, hidden, waiting for the day they could reclaim their legacy. That day has come. Seek the archives. Find the lost worlds. The galaxy must know what we were, and what we are still capable of. Mara turned to Holt. They left instructions. The archives may tell us how the Council moved, what they fear, and how to awaken allies among the stars. Holt nodded slowly. Then we have a mission beyond war. We must uncover the truth before the Council finds us. Soral wandered deeper into the ruins, reading inscriptions carved into walls and floors. Each spoke of human courage, discovery, and unity. Some nodes contained star charts with paths long forgotten, detailing the colonies that survived the Council's purge. They weren't just scientists, Soral whispered. They were architects of the galaxy, humans, always humans. Mara joined him, her expression solemn. And now it falls to us to continue what they started. Danai's voice came from across the hall. Admiral, I found something. A record of battles, councils, and treaties. It mentions a Council fleet stationed near the edge of the Veil. They are still active, monitoring lost colonies. Mara's brow furrowed. Then they know we're coming. The Council hasn't forgotten. Soral looked up sharply. If they know, what will they do? Mara's eyes narrowed. They will try to erase us again. But this time we are ready. We remember what they tried to hide, and the galaxy will remember us too. Over the following days, the humans and Valerie worked together to access more nodes. Each revealed secrets of pre-Council civilizations, cities larger than any in the galaxy today, ships capable of instantaneous travel, knowledge of energy manipulation far beyond current understanding. Soral marveled. Our ancestors, they were gods among the stars, and yet they feared the Council. Why? Mara walked past him, her voice soft. Because knowledge is dangerous. Power is dangerous. But courage. Courage endures, Holt joined her. Then it's not just war we face. It's the fight to restore memory, to remind the galaxy that humans were never gone. Mara nodded. Exactly. And this is only the beginning. One node projected a map of the Council's hidden sectors, vast regions of space heavily shielded, inaccessible to ordinary navigation. Symbols marked the location of ancient weapons and colonies erased from history. Soral gasped. The Council erased not just Earth, but the paths we took to survive. They wanted humanity lost forever. Mara studied the map. And yet here we are. They cannot erase what survives in memory and blood and will. Every child born carries Earth inside them. Every mind remembers, even if unconsciously. That's why we came back. Danai frowned. But the Dominion, they're still out there. And if the Council intervenes, this knowledge could be lost again. Holt said quietly. Then we must move fast. Recover allies. Recover colonies. Recover the truth. Mara turned toward the holographic nodes. And we will. The voice of the ancients guides us, but the Council will fight to silence it. On the surface of Elysium Prime, Soral stood in awe at a massive circular structure. Its walls glowed faintly, showing images of Earth and the early colonies. A message repeated in a loop. The children of Earth will rise again. When the galaxy forgets, you will remind them. When darkness falls, you will bring fire. When memory fades, you will be the voice, Soral whispered. It's a prophecy, but not of destruction. Of awakening. Mara approached, placing a hand on his shoulder. We are the awakening, and the Council has no choice but to see it. Holt looked at the projections. Then the next step is clear. We find the lost colonies and gather allies. The Dominion may be crippled, but the Council is patient, and they are dangerous. At night, beneath the faint light of Elysium Prime's twin moons, Mara stood outside the ruins. The wind whispered through broken spires, carrying the voices of humans long gone. She felt their presence, not ghosts, but guidance. "We are not alone," she whispered. "Even when we were forgotten, even when the Council tried to erase us, the fire remained." Soral joined her, gazing at the stars. "And now it burns again." From the shadows of the ruins, Danai called them back. "Nodes are stable. We have the archives. The fleet awaits your command." Mara nodded, her face set with determination. "Then we leave tomorrow. We have worlds to awaken, and secrets to reclaim." Deep within hidden corners of the galaxy, the Galactic Council observed the nodes of Elysium Prime flicker. "They have returned," one elder whispered. "The children of Earth are alive." "We erase their history," another replied. "We cannot allow them to awaken the past." "They already remember," a third said softly. "And once memory awakens, nothing can stop it." Their words were quiet, but their fear echoed across the stars. For the first time in thousands of years, the Council understood the truth. Earth's children were not myths, and now they were ready to reclaim the galaxy. The stars were silent, too silent. Above the hidden sector of the outer veil, the human fleet gathered in formation. The Archangel led 36 other ships, their blue lights glowing like calm fires in the darkness. They were heading toward the stronghold of the Galactic Council, the ancient rulers who had erased Earth from history. "Coordinates set," Lieutenant Danai said. "We'll enter the Council sector in 30 minutes. Commander Holt frowned. 30 minutes and we face centuries of enemies waiting with fleets we've never seen. Are you certain this is wise, Admiral? Mara Iqbal's eyes glimmered in the cold light of the bridge. We have no choice. They tried to erase us once. We cannot allow them to erase the truth again. Humanity's memory survives, and today the galaxy will remember us." Sorrel Teth, historian and scholar, stood near the observation deck gripping a railing. "Admiral, the Council is powerful. They can obliterate entire fleets in an instant. Even your technology may not be enough." Mara smiled faintly. "Then we fight with more than technology, Professor. We fight with will, courage, and unity. That is what makes humans dangerous. That is what makes humans human." The first Council vessels appeared through the darkness like silent mountains. Their hulls reflected no light. Their engines emitted no heat. They were ghosts, ancient machines designed to annihilate. "Scan them," Mara ordered. Danai's console flickered. "They're shielding themselves. Their weapons are unlike anything we've encountered. Energy densities exceed anything in current galactic records." Holt swallowed. "We're outmatched." Mara's voice was steady. "We've been outmatched before. And we survived. Remember that. The fleet advanced. They did not fire. The Council's ships did." Massive beams of concentrated energy cut through the void, aiming for the human formation. But the humans moved as one. "Theta 9 formation," Mara commanded. The ship shifted instantly, weaving, dodging, flowing like liquid metal. Energy bolts struck shields only to disperse harmlessly across the blue fields. Soral watched in awe. "It's like the humans are dancing." Mara's eyes never left the enemy. "We fight with the old ways, with instinct, cunning, and timing. Machines can predict calculations, but they cannot predict courage." The first wave of attacks passed. Now it was the humans' turn. Small, precise projectiles struck the Council vessels, not to destroy, but to disable. Power cores flickered, engines stalled, and the vast ships drifted powerless through the void. Then, the human fleet released gravity nets, bending the ship's fields and pulling them out of alignment. The Council vessels were trapped, immobilized, unable to respond. Sorel gasped. They're controlling space itself." Holt nodded. "Old Terran tactics, ancient technology, and centuries of strategy encoded in instinct." Mara smiled slightly. "We may have been forgotten, but the fire of Earth still burns." Suddenly, a transmission cut across the comms. It was distorted, echoing with authority. "Children of Earth, you should not have returned. You defy the order of the galaxy. Stand down or all will be lost." The voice was cold, emotionless, yet heavy with power. Mara answered without hesitation. "We do not stand down. We remember. The galaxy remembers. Truth cannot be erased, and we will not be silenced again." The Council responded by activating a massive array of destructive energy, a pulse capable of annihilating everything within several Light seconds Danai's console flashed red. It's the Oblivion Array. If it hits, every ship will be destroyed instantly. Holt's voice shook. We can't survive that. Mara's hands clenched. We won't. Prepare grav cores. Focus the energy. We bend their own power against them. The fleet moved as one, projecting fields, redirecting gravity, and guiding Council energy into precise focal points. The ancient weapons exploded in their own energy, ripping apart the front lines of the Council fleet. Soral shouted, It's working! The ancients' knowledge. It's still alive. Mara looked beyond the chaos. The Council may have erased our history, but they cannot erase our future. On the surface of Elysium Prime, messages began to spread across the galaxy. Every neutral system, every hidden colony, every abandoned world saw the humans fight. Beacons and relays carried the truth. Earth's children had returned. Rebellion stirred in the hearts of enslaved and oppressed worlds. Ships long hidden joined the fight, siding with humanity. Colonies that had been erased from record sent fleets to reinforce the Archangel. The Council's leaders, hidden in their citadel of black crystal, realized their control was failing. Fear entered their calculated minds for the first time in millennia. They awaken what we tried to hide, whispered one elder. Memory cannot be suppressed, said another. And now the galaxy remembers. Back in the void, the final battle began. The Council's flagship, massive and dark, emerged at the center of their formation. Mara turned to Holt. They will try to strike at me directly, she said. We cannot allow them to break our fleet's unity. Holt nodded. And if they do? Mara's expression hardened. Then we remind them why humanity cannot be erased. The Council flagship fired a concentrated beam aimed directly at the Archangel. Mara's fleet shifted instantly, projecting fields to absorb and redirect the energy. The beam hit only to be pulled into the void behind the Council's own fleet, damaging their ships instead. Soral whispered, It's poetic. Humans are turning their own fear against them. Mara nodded. Strategy isn't just about power. It's about teaching a lesson, about survival, about remembering who you are. The battle raged for hours. Council ships fell one by one, their defenses collapsing under coordinated human tactics, cunning, and ingenuity. Every attack was precise, every maneuver deliberate, and then at the center of the chaos, the grav core was activated. A massive gravitational pulse engulfed the Council citadel, forcing the massive structures into orbit and disabling their energy shields. Mara spoke calmly, her voice echoing through the fleet. This is your last chance. Stand down. Accept that humanity remembers. Accept the truth. There was no answer. Only silence. Holt said softly. Then we end it. With synchronized precision, the human fleet moved forward. Weapons disabled, ships captured, and archives preserved. The Council had been defeated, not by hate, but by unity, courage, and the human will. On Elysium Prime, the planetary observers cheered. Across the galaxy, messages of victory spread. Sorrel Teth watched, tears in his eyes. They did it. Humanity did it. Mara stood on the Archangel's deck, staring at the surviving Council vessels. We didn't destroy them, she said. We reminded them that the galaxy cannot forget its children, that the fire of Earth endures. Holt placed a hand on her shoulder. And now? Now, Mara said, we rebuild. We awaken the lost colonies. We restore the archives. And we make sure the galaxy knows the truth. Earth's children are here. Always were. Always will be. Later, a message was broadcast across the entire galaxy. No fleet, no empire, no colony could ignore it. To all sentient beings, we were forgotten but never gone. We are the children of Earth, and we have returned to remind you that courage, memory, and unity are stronger than fear. The stars belong to all who remember, and we will protect that memory. On countless worlds, beings wept with relief and hope. A new era had begun. In the ruins of Elysium Prime, Soral read the final inscriptions left by the ancients. Words etched in light and stone. Memory survives where history fails. Courage endures where darkness seeks to erase. Children of Earth, you have returned to awaken the galaxy. Let your fire burn brighter than the void. He turned to Mara, smiling. They were speaking to you. To all of you. Mara nodded. Yes, and now it is our turn to be the voice. The galaxy will never forget again. Above them, the stars shone brighter than ever. Humanity had returned. Not as myths, not as legends, but as living, breathing proof of what courage and unity could achieve. And somewhere, in the distant reaches of space. The remaining elders of the Galactic Council looked at the light and understood for the first time. Earth's children had come home, and nothing could ever erase them again.